Listen, I finally sat down with Erika Kirk, and I'll be the first to admit I walked in there with my guard down. But make no mistake, this was not what I expected. The entire dynamic was orchestrated to blindside me. It became very clear very quickly that I hadn't just walked into a meeting, I had walked straight into a setup.
Y'all, Candace Owens reportedly collapsed just hours after meeting privately with Erika Kirk, and many people are convinced this was no coincidence. After weeks of tension, subtle shade, and growing public speculation, the two finally agreed to sit down, face-to-face to talk things out. Most people thought this meeting would bring closure and finally put an end to the chaos. Instead, it allegedly ended with Candace suffering a sudden medical emergency, and now the story has taken a much darker turn, not long after the meeting wrapped. Rumors started swirling that something went seriously wrong behind the scenes. And now, according to multiple insiders, what actually happened was far messier and more unsettling than anyone expected. Sources claim the conversation became uncomfortable very quickly, with Candace allegedly asking Erika pointed questions that appeared to put her on edge. When you start adding up the timing, the secrecy, and what followed, many people say the situation feels extremely suspicious. Some are even using the word silencing whatever is really going on between Candace and Erika. It seems like their feud has officially entered a whole new level of chaos. Now, to be fair, no one realistically expected this meeting to go perfectly. Even though both women publicly framed it as a genuine attempt to resolve their issues, the tension had been brewing for weeks. Erika announced on X that they would be meeting privately, writing, "Candace Owens and I are meeting for a private in-person discussion. Public discussions, live streams, and tweets are on hold until after this meeting. I look forward to a productive conversation," Candace replied shortly after, saying she was also looking forward to the discussion. On the surface, it appeared mature. It looked like two adults trying to handle conflict behind closed doors. But almost immediately after the meeting, fans noticed that something felt off. Candace later claimed that the meeting lasted for an hour.
I said there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying it? But anybody can go to it. You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she shows up and posts it on social media. Nope, actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now.
At first, Candace tried to throw rocks and hide her hands. Right after subtly shading Erika, she suddenly switched tones and began publicly praising her. Candace tweeted things like, "The strength it takes to stand on stage and say you forgive someone who caused you so much hurt, absolutely incredible." Erika is such a stunning example of Christian faith. On the surface, it looked like grace, maturity, and reconciliation. But that calm didn't last long. It wasn't long before Candace started throwing shade again, and this time, she wasn't subtle about it. With each passing day, her comments became sharper, her tone more direct, and her accusations harder to ignore. Her viewers immediately clocked the shift, and once they noticed it, they ran with it. Candace's comment sections quickly filled with wild theories and disturbing accusations aimed at Erika. Some followers went as far as claiming Erika was an Israeli honeypot, allegedly placed to control Charlie when others no longer could. Others accused her of feeding sensitive information to powerful people behind the scenes. These comments were extreme, speculative, and explosive, but here's the part that raised eyebrows. Candace never told her fans to stop, instead of shutting it down. Candace continued tweeting and speaking on her podcast in ways that many felt only fueled the fire. She would make vague comments, ask pointed questions, and frame statements in a way that left just enough room for interpretation. The speculation grew so intense that some people even began claiming Candace was secretly in love with Charlie and jealous that he chose Erika instead. That theory is messy, unproven, and deserves its own deep dive, but the fact that people even went there shows how heated things had become. To Erika's credit, she initially ignored Candace completely. She kept posting, working, and grieving in her own way. But that silence ended when Candace crossed a line that made ignoring her impossible. On her podcast, Candace openly criticized Erika for recording herself at Charlie's casket and posting the footage online. She said, "This is the same person who recorded herself over Charlie's casket. That was not our business." I understand people grieve differently, but recording yourself crying over your husband's dead body and posting it online was a choice. Candace then played the video Erika sobbing over Charlie's body and questioned the decision to share something so intimate publicly. While some people agreed that the video was unsettling, others felt Candace dragging a grieving widow like that was out of line. Either way, this was the moment it became undeniable. Candace had real beef with Erika. Up until this point, Candace had mostly aimed her criticism at Turning Point USA and its wealthy donors. She repeatedly suggested Charlie was pressured into supporting ideologies he didn't fully believe in. But now, Candace stopped speaking in generalities. She started naming names. She began questioning Erika directly and publicly, asking why she hadn't pushed harder for transparency around what Candace believes is a cover-up surrounding Charlie's death. And here's where things get even stranger. Remember those insider claims about Erika refusing to meet Candace on neutral ground? Turns out, that wasn't a coincidence. This situation had allegedly been in motion for a while. Earlier, Blake Neff, the producer behind Charlie's show, publicly invited Candace to come on the show to address her accusations. The catch? She would have to fly to Phoenix and do it face-to-face. Candace declined, saying she wasn't comfortable. But later, it came out that Erika herself was the one pushing for Candace to come to Arizona, allegedly using Blake as a middleman. Blake later confirmed that Erika had directed them to set up the live stream invitation. Candace then questioned whether Erika had also signed off on other moves, like referring to critics as extremists or Antifa just for asking questions. She also pointed out suspicious details, including coordinated clothing worn by certain individuals on the day of Charlie's death. At this point, people started asking the obvious question: why was Erika so determined to pull Candace out of her comfort zone and into her territory? Erika finally responded, and when she did, she didn't hold back. She went on a rant criticizing people who were questioning Charlie's death and accused them of profiting off his passing. She said, "Come after me, call me names, I don't care. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it, that's not okay." She also urged people to stop what she called a mind virus and let law enforcement do their jobs, saying she trusted the judicial system completely. The emotion in her voice was real. This wasn't calm or polished, this was anger. Many assumed that after this, Candace would back off. But if you know Candace Owens, you already know that's not how this ends. Instead, Candace doubled down. She questioned why Erika seemed so rattled if there was nothing to hide. She argued that calling people family shouldn't shield them from scrutiny, and said that if Erika truly cared about transparency, she would sit down and answer questions instead of shutting them down. Candace also claimed that Turning Point USA had financially benefited more than anyone from Charlie's passing. She alleged the organization took in over $140 million in donations afterward, and pointed out that Erika herself is releasing a book. While official records haven't confirmed those exact numbers, it's widely reported that donations did surge, making Candace's claims resonate with many viewers. To be fair, Candace herself has profited massively. Her podcast shot to #1 globally, and she's undeniably winning financially. But that doesn't stop people from asking uncomfortable questions. Now here's where things take a truly disturbing turn. Last month, Candace revealed that she created what she called a dead man's switch. According to her, she distributed a package of texts, emails, videos, and legal documents to people she trusts. She said, if anything happens to her, all of it will be released publicly. She claims she did this because she fears for her safety and believes powerful people want to silence her. So when Candace finally agreed to meet Erika in person and then allegedly collapsed from a sudden medical emergency just hours later, people panicked. Photos reportedly surfaced of Candace being carried into an ambulance. Insiders claim the emergency happened shortly after the meeting wrapped. Almost immediately, Candace went silent. No updates, no commentary, nothing. And suddenly, everyone involved started telling the public to stop asking questions. That's what made this situation feel dangerous to many observers. When someone says they're scared for their life, sets up a dead man's switch, refuses to stay quiet, and then suddenly goes silent after a private meeting, it raises alarms. Was it coincidence? Maybe. Was it stress? Possibly. Was it something more? That's what people are asking. If Candace truly has information that could blow this entire situation wide open, then the panic, the defensiveness, and the urgency to control the narrative suddenly makes sense. The pressure to pull her into unfamiliar territory, the anger over questions, the calls for silence, because when people want the conversation to stop instead of answering questions, that's when suspicion grows. At this point, nothing feels accidental anymore. And whether Candace is right or wrong, one thing is clear: this story is far from over and the internet is watching every move.